boy. All right. Hey, everybody. Oh, I'm like really far away. Hang on. Let me move a little closer. So, let's see. Today is the second part of my history of bobbin lace discussion. And I'm outside because it's this like nice, bright, it's really bright, sunny day. And, well, I decided I might as well enjoy it. So I, popped outside, brought my laptop, brought my books, so we can talk about the second part of our history of bobbin lace for our lace history series. So let's see, I think 2 weeks ago when I talked about the first part of this, I talked about the origins of bobbin lace, how it started with the imitation of needle laces and how those needle laces arose from embroidery. And I talked a little bit about smuggling, and I talked about some of the various styles. The more interesting pieces of bobbin lace are that there are actually what they consider to be like straight laces with mesh and tape laces. And then in addition to that, they also have sort of like pieced laces where you're making smaller motifs and then building that into a bigger picture. And they all kind of build upon one another. And the first thing that you see are the tape laces, because those are the most similar to your laces that you were seeing from your needle laces. And they are very geometric. They use a lot of squares, and it's the use of white space on the squares as they build to make the pattern, and it's very similar in appearance to your needle laces. And then as you go along, you start to build into more mesh-like motifs, and you'll see more ground in between them. And I was trying to find a picture of what I wanted, but can I? No. Let's see if I can find one of the earlier laces. Torsion comes later. And if I didn't say it already, this is a great little identification book for checking out lace if you're interested in lace at all. And I do have to mention that if you are interested in lace and bobbin lace, the International Organization of Lace is an excellent source. They actually have a lending library, which is really awesome, so you can borrow books, and if they're still in print, then you can get more of them. Hey Cheryl, nice to see you on here. If they don't happen to still be in print, then you can at least still borrow them and use them, which is kind of nice. So they do have a great lending library, and then there are of course tons of books that are out there. Some of them are public domain. You can actually find them on the Project Gutenberg website, so if you haven't ever checked that out, it's really awesome. It's books that are out of copyright and often out of print that you can go and download and check out, and usually it's older books. But they're really nice because, it preserves all of these books that would otherwise be lost to history. So part of what you see is this, again, evolution of lace from tape laces, where, like this is a reticella sampler. Hopefully you can see this. And that's a needle lace right there. But we see our bobbin lace sort of grow from that, because of course bobbin lace is a method of weaving without having a loom. And what you're doing is you use little pins and a pattern that they call a pricking to hold your threads, so that it's a lot like my rigid heddle has that heddle and the reed that we use to hold all of the threads in place. Well, instead of doing that, you have little pins that hold your threads in place, and it allows you to do some really interesting things and to build curves much more easily. You can make figures much more easily, because it's essentially like having a loom, but having more of like a 3D loom. So you can build, oh, these are cool. You can build a lot of different grounds. So these are different grounds where you are using your bobbin pairs, because you always use them in pairs, just like we, you know, always had 2 threads that we were pulling through the heddle on my loom. So this is all related, to make these different grounds, these different meshes. And they always laugh. I always laugh because the bobbin lace people are always like, it's only ever 2 moves, it's cross and twist, and it's all about how you put them together. And I'm like, well, that sounds a little bit like, you know, knitting. It's all about knitting and purling and how you put them together, right? So then it's just, of course, a matter of building off of your ground and your laces to put together big motifs. Ooh, this is a cool one, where here's a Mechlin motif, says early 19th century, and you can actually see it looks kind of like a dog chasing a fox. Look at how awesome this is. Sorry, here, there. Oh, don't need that. So yeah, like a dog chasing a fox, which is pretty awesome. And that's all done in lace. Like that whole thing is lace, and it's not pieced together. That's a pattern that has been pricked that they follow along with their bobbins in order to make them. Anyway, and then you kind of get into some other laces. Idria is a really cool tape lace. It builds forward where you start, you kind of see like in Spain at the beginning of like the, I don't know, 1700s-ish, I think is Point de España, which is really cool, and it's a needle lace, and it's made with things like silver thread and gold thread, very expensive, right? So yeah, 16th, 17th century, so like late 1600s. So you kind of see this beginning with lace being done in really fine. Oh, I have gnats now. That's fun. Well, there's a reason not to sit outside. That was entertaining, right? So you see lace being made with fine precious metals and silver threads and gold threads, and then you see it moving into linen. And I think I talked last time about how there were linens that were so fine, the spinning was so fine that we cannot duplicate it now. That the threads were so fine and strong, because they had to be to, you know, make lace, that we can't mimic it now. We cannot imitate it now because we may not have the right climate, we may not have the right strain of linen, we may have lost the knowledge on how to process it to make really, really fine linen, but we can't make it anymore. And there are these gorgeous, gorgeous examples of laces from the 1700s, which is kind of the heyday of lace making, when you know, there's such fine lace that you can't make it again, right? And then we start moving into you know, laces that are a little rougher, because we start having machine-made lace. And when machine-made lace comes on the market, and here's an example, the top is handmade, the bottom is machine-made. But when these machine-made laces start coming on the market, we run into issues because, of course, our lace makers can't keep up with the production that, you know, a machine can do. You don't get the quality, of course. We all know that, right? You don't get the quality in a machine-made lace that you get in a handmade lace, just like you don't have the same quality in machine-made knitting versus handmade knitting. And there are techniques that can't be done because you mimic them, but you can't actually perform them. Like, you know, true crochet can't really be performed by machine. You can fake crochet, but can't really perform it by machine. Same thing with tatting. That's another one where you can't really tat by machine. You fake it. There's several different embroidery methods that fake tatting, but you can't actually replicate tatting because of the way that your hands move. And you know, there's always certain appearances that you can imitate, but they never quite look the same. So when we move into the late 1700s and then into the 1800s, suddenly we see machines that are starting to make our lace. Lace becomes less popular as a result, and it's really held in should say, held in like history reserves. So you see like ladies' pastime clubs, and you see historical societies that try to hold on to lace as a way of life, at least for some people, in areas like Bedfordshire and with the Honiton laces and things of that nature. Let me see if I can find one of those, because we recognize that it's an important thing that we don't want to lose, because once you lose knowledge, it's gone forever, right? If you don't have someone that is actively teaching and passing it on, you lose that knowledge forever. And there are so many little tips and tricks that we don't think to write down, that we tell people about, that we teach people, that we learn or we practice ourselves, but we don't necessarily pass those on unless we are actively teaching. So that's why it's so important that we had these ladies' societies, or ladies' improvement societies, that tried to hold on to the knowledge, there's Honiton, the knowledge of how these laces were made, because, I mean, look at this, so there's handmade Honiton lace on the top there, and then machine lace on the bottom. Look at the difference. Look at the difference. It's such a difference in the quality on this top one versus this bottom one. And we could have lost all of this. We could have lost bobbin lace kind of forever if there weren't a few people that had decided to take it on and keep teaching and working with it. And now you have all kinds of crazy laces that are, they're so cool, that come together. Let me see, this one's a needle lace. Let me see, this is from like the latest IOLI, but here, this one's kind of cool. She uses bobbin lace on eggshells. I don't know if you can see this, but there's bobbin lace on these eggshells. How cool is that? Bobbin lace on eggshells, where she's preserving bobbin lace, but also taking it in a new direction, which I think is really fascinating. And there are tons of really good resources online if you're interested in bobbin lace, you want to get into bobbin lace. Let me see. One of the interesting ones, if you're looking for lace for study, there's actually a digital lace collection at laceforstudy.org.uk, and I'll put that link up later. But there's a whole website that's dedicated to lace and the study of lace, so that you can see photos of it. You can look at basically how the lace was made. You can check out different styles. You can see what the purpose was for those laces. There's a lace Ning ring, so it's lace. That message for now. I know somebody rang me. I never get phone calls. What was I saying? Oh yes, there's a lace Ning ring. So it's laceioli.ning.com, and again, I'll put this up later. But it's an entire website that's like a forum-based website that is devoted to lace. And there's a whole section for identification, but then there's also knitted laces, crochet laces, tatted laces, needle laces, and then of course all the different styles of bobbin lace, because there are tons of different styles of bobbin lace, because every town that developed their own style then had a bobbin lace named after them. That's why we have Chantilly, we have Valenciennes, we have, let's see, Bucks Point, Bedfordshire, Honiton, I can't even name them all, Idria, Lille, Mechlin. I mean, there's so many different styles. Bonch, which is actually spelled Binch, but whatever, Bonch. Anyway, I hope I'm saying that right. I could totally have botched that again. But anyway, there are so many different styles that arise because you have various regional differences. And it's a fascinating thing. It's a fascinating thing to look at textiles and to look at lace, and then to understand sort of the economic importance of it and how it was highly valued as an art for a long time. And then of course it lost favor, and then became a holdout of hobbyists and history, people who are historians. There we go, historians, people interested in history. And then of course, I don't actually make bobbin lace. I make no bobbin lace. I tried it one time Betty could tell you that if she were on here. I made it one time. I have a really hideous little keychain somewhere, maybe, that I made in bobbin lace. It was not my thing. I appreciated it. I understood the value of it. I like watching other people make it. I'm glad that there are people making it. That's why we sell books. We have a whole load of books coming from England, from the Lace Guild of England, beginners books as well as pattern books in Torsion. Oh, there's another one. Torsion, Honiton, Milanese, Bedfordshire, Bucks Point. I don't know. I can't even think of everything that we have coming, because I appreciate it and I want it to continue to exist, but it just wasn't for me. I love tatting. I love knitting. I like crochet lace. I don't do much of it, but I do like it. Mediterranean knotted lace is really cool. I really need to get back into that and practice again and make some things, because I think it would be fun to share it with all of you, but I need to practice before I do it. But I think it's really interesting to see how all of these different needle arts are connected and how they build on one another and they steal from one another, because that's what we're going to be talking about next time, is actually how bobbin lace then gives rise to other laces. So we start with needle laces and tape laces that are and hardanger and drawn thread work that build into bobbin lace, which is related to weaving. And then from there, it expands again, and we find crochet laces, knitted laces, and tatted laces that try to mimic bobbin laces, because they're faster to produce, even though they're rougher, because they aren't as, it's not as fine a thread. It doesn't take as long to make them. But it mimics them, and they grow into their own art forms. So what should I do next time? You guys can vote. Next week, do you want me to talk about crochet laces, knitting laces, or tatting laces? We'll do one of those three. So you just have to leave a comment. Just say crochet, knitting, or tatting. And however many comments I have today that say knitting, crochet, or tatting, that's what we'll do, and I will schedule for next week. So you get to vote on which one we go to next, because they're all kind of interrelated. So it doesn't really matter which one we go to next. It's not like there's a chronological order. So anyway, and I already have one vote from Cheryl, and she says tatting. So we'll see what happens. So yeah, what else do I need to remind you about? So if you haven't noticed, this is March, and March is our next, our year of lace. Or excuse me, our year of self-care. Well, it is kind of a year of lace, because I talk about lace a ton, but that's not what I want. I want to talk about the year of self-care. So if you are not posting, remember to keep posting your social media stuff for the year of self-care. I have to get with Tina so that we can pick our February winner. March is going to be the Spring into Lightweight projects, which segues perfectly with our new fairy ring cowls kit. If you haven't checked those out, they're super cute. It's 3 different patterns, free patterns. There's 3 different colors, so you can do each cowl in a different color. They are stackable, they're lightweight. It's a size 10.5 needle. They're super fast to make, and it's mohair and silk, hand dyed by Laura of Blazing Fibers. We have some great kits on the website. You can find those just by going to blacksheepfiberemporium.com, and it'll be one of the banners at the top. You can also search fairy ring cowl, and that'll come up, or fairy will also get it for you. And since it was March, it's time to get outside and enjoy spring or fall for, if I have anybody watching in like Australia. And if you've been working on a really big project, which I have, oh my God, I finished the sweater. Oh, I forgot to bring the sweater out. Okay, I'll show you guys the sweater on Wednesday. I finished the sweater. I have to wash it. I still have not washed it. I meant to, I just didn't get it done over the weekend. But if you've been working on a big project, find something small and quick to work on. Now is the perfect time to transition to new projects. So grab something lightweight and portable and take yourself outside for a walk, or sit and enjoy nature for a little bit. And if you happen to be around other people, do remember to wear your mask and physically distance and take care of yourself. And oh, Patty says tatting, of course. So I think tatting is what I'm seeing for next week. We're gonna do tatting, because I've had at least 2 votes for tatting. And you know, tatting's always fun. At least I think it's always fun. And that's a great lightweight project too. So if you aren't into knitting and the fairy rings cowls are not your thing, you can always do a lovely little tatted project. And I did put up a little video on the basics of how to tat on our YouTube channel. So if you want to learn and you missed my first class and you can't wait for my next class, I do have some basics up there so that you can check that video out and at least try to get started. Let me think, what else? Oh yes, and I've been putting up videos on our TikTok channel, and yeah, the loom, yeah, so don't forget, Wednesdays are for weaving. We will be back to the loom on Wednesday, and I went ahead and finished slaying my reed, so we'll be tying on Wednesday, and if we're lucky, I might even get to start putting in the, like the throwaway, what do they call that? The shed, opening the shed, putting in the throwaway weft at the base of my weaving, because you always have to put a little bit of like packing in that weft so that you can start your actual weaving, because it's too close to the apron rod, and so you don't get the proper spread if you don't. Anyway, we'll talk about all of that on Wednesday. All kinds of fun stuff, right? So this month, I'm going to try to get some sewing done. I'd really like to make a shirt for myself. I'm going to be working on my tatting again because I'm really hopeful that Ina will finally let me tat. And I think I'm just going to give her her own shuttle and be just like I did with the knitting. I had to give her her own needles and just pass it on and say, here, honey, here's your tatting shuttle. Don't take mommy's shuttle. Here's your tatting shuttle. So anyway, all kinds of fun stuff. Yeah, so that's kind of the plan. And then, of course, Tina will be on Fridays. She's down in Arizona now. But we do have our lovely shop minions who are still in store to help you. We did bring in all of that lovely Olympus tatting thread. And I'm really excited about that. I'm supposed to be getting a box, hopefully sometime in the next week or so. When it comes, I will definitely share it with all of you. Tina's sending me, I don't even know what all she's sending me, but I know I'm getting some Olympus tatting thread in there, so we are definitely going to be talking about that at some point. But anyway, no matter what you are working on, don't forget to post your year of self-care to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, whatever. Just make sure you tag us, hashtag Black Sheep Fiber Emporium, or use the @ and tag us so that we know that you are participating in the year of self-care, so we can enter you in our monthly contests. And as I've said before, and will say all the rest of this year, it doesn't matter what needle art you do, whether you are a quilter or a tatter or a sewer or a knitter, a spinner, a weaver, a needle lace maker, what am I leaving out? Bobbin lace maker, crocheter, whatever you do with needle arts, you qualify for our year of self-care. So all you have to do is tag us, spread the word about the year of self-care, and you are entered in the contest monthly. And you can enter more than once with the same project. We don't care. So long as you're working on it and you're sharing what you're working on, we love that. So make sure that you're tagging us so that we know to enter you for our contests and prizes. Oh my goodness, what else do I need to tell you? I don't know. Okay, so Wednesday I'll be back with weaving. Next Monday, I think we're probably doing tatting. I will, of course, put the event up, and I will put the title in so you know for sure what's coming. But yes, looks like we're going to do the history of tatting, because I had at least 2 votes for that. And, oh, yeah, it's been a crazy day. My kid did not want to take a nap, I'll tell you. But it's really nice out, and my seeds are starting to sprout. And I put duck eggs in the incubator, so I'm hoping that in about a month we have little fuzzy ducklings to you know, show on the video and play with and grow and raise, you know, because that's kind of the point. And I think my ducks have decided to go wander across the road again because I saw them head towards the front of the house. So I probably should go retrieve them because, you know, ducks, tiny little walnut brains, unfortunately. Such pretty creatures, but not very bright. Ducks are not very bright. Anyway, so until Wednesday, when we talk more about weaving, remember to wear your mask, wash your hands, physically distance from people if at all possible. Please take care of yourselves, physically, emotionally, mentally, craftually, as I like to say, because, you know, I like to craft. And I find it really helps me if I take even just 5 or 10 minutes a day to craft, especially at the end of the day. It really helps me to wind down if I can just knit for a little bit. And I do keep a lot of really simple projects around because sometimes I just need to knit. Or spinning is really relaxing for me. I don't have to think about it as much either, so I can just spin a little bit, and it's very soothing for me. And hopefully the weaving will be like that too as soon as we get the loom all warped. We're really close now, aren't we? And yeah. And yes, Kathy, I am a bit of a duck shepherdess. What can I say? I really like my rabbits, and I really like my ducks, and you know, and chickens aren't quite my thing. Ina really likes watching the chickens though. Sometimes I have to put chicken videos on YouTube for her. And hamsters, she's really into hamsters for some reason. She likes watching the hamster mazes. But I digress. So, all right, I will see you guys on Wednesday. And don't forget that Tina is on Fridays, and we try to come on at about the same time every day and talk for at least 20 minutes. Remember, we put our videos up on YouTube when we're finished, so if you miss one of our live chats, you can always watch these videos later, either on our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel. Make sure that you are liking or subscribing to our Facebook page, our YouTube channel. I do have the TikTok channel, we have an Instagram account, and we have a Twitter account, so you can find us all the places. You can find us all the places, and we try to share all of those places as much as possible so that we can stay connected to all of you. I like hearing from you. I desperately miss teaching in person, so I really am glad that I at least get these, you know, twice a week chit chats with you, to feel like I'm a little more connected to my fibery people. So anyhow, I will see you on Wednesday for weaving, and then next Monday we'll be doing, I think, a history of tatting based on the votes. So I will see you then. Until then, take care of yourselves. Bye.